Hey everyone, what is up? We are live. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. We got a great guest for you guys today. Cliff Williams from Total Domination Reptiles. Cliff is a great friend of mine. He's been breeding boas forever, knows a ton about so many different species of snakes, has probably the funniest story about how he got into retics out of anyone I've ever met. So we'll go ahead and let Cliff kind of take it away. So just give us a little bit about yourself, then we'll start talking in depth a little bit about the different species.
Well, JT, kind of started when I was about 13 years of age. Got into some of the boas. Kind of funny how you mentioned I got into snakes. Period, is being bit by that rattlesnake when I was a kid running across the field on the toe, which inspired me to look into snakes and just in awe of them. Like I said, I've been doing it since I've been 13. I bred my first boas at an age about 14, 15 years of age. Started producing boas, Central American boas I started out with. Then went on to the Reptiles. Pretty much bred every morph of boa out there, except for some of the new ones. And we're working on those right now, as you know. Retics. Funny thing about retics, I really didn't like them when I first got into them. You know, as I told you before, they were back in the 80s, they were all wild caught and not there was no captive born. It was all wild caught, or they were shipped in from breeders that were over in Indonesia and all. So we ended up getting a few, and I really didn't like them. They're mean. I can't say they were mean. They were a little aggressive just because they were scared and frightened. But I've learned a lot over the years. I did spend some time at the World Zoo, got bit by a retic, got wrapped up by a retic. That was a crazy time. Doing some volunteer work. But I got out of those, sent my retics on the way, ended up getting some berms. Did a lot of breeding of berms for years. Loved my berms. I got out of it for a little bit, and it's kind of funny thing. I got back into the retics just by watching who we all know, Jay, and on all his videos, and then reaching out to you, brother. And that's how I did. And I went back from there, and away we went. I started investing in retics, and here we are again today.
You know, and that's one of the things I think that has changed so much in like the world of reptiles, how retics are seen. Because even when I started working with them, when I started with Bob had a lot of wild caught stuff, and my opinion of them was totally different when I moved over and started working with more captive bred ones at Jay's, because the wild caught ones were, I always told people they're legitimately scary in some ways.
You're absolutely true on that one. They were a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah. And they were smart too. They could think stuff that you wouldn't think they'd be able to think through. So
extremely smart. One of the smartest snakes I've ever dealt with. They seem to recognize different people. Mm-hmm. Just in my opinion. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
The wife goes in. She goes in, and she knows they seem to know she's the cleaner. So she pushes them away, and away she goes to cleaning. I come in, they know I'm a feeder, so it's like, hey, they come out and say, hey, how you doing today? Let's eat something.
Food time right now. So,
so they know. So they know people. They can recognize it, which is amazing, because worms and boas don't.
Yeah.
They seem to not recognize people, but they're not as active.
Yeah. Retics, they definitely seem to know what's up, and we both seen them times where they like one person over other people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have one. We have one in the collection, as you know, that the wife doesn't play with.
I know the exact one you're talking about, and my wife has one that hates me and everyone else, but really likes her. So yeah, it's pretty funny how they are.
It is extremely funny, and they pick their people. It seems like sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially the big one we have, that Centron we have here of yours. I have no problems with her, but she seems to not like you at all.
And she hates me. I pulled that clutch of eggs from her, and she's never forgiven me for that.
So I'm like, she probably won't forgive me when we pull it from her this year.
So out of all of retics, because we work with together quite a wide variety of morphs, is there one you can kind of pinpoint, not combo, but just single gene, that if you could only have one to work with, that would be it?
Oh, that's a tough one, brother.
Yeah.
You know me, that's I love them all.
Yeah.
That's the roughest one. If I had to just work with one single gene and had to go for it all the way with adding the genes to it, or just the one single gene?
Oh, you could add genes to it, but you add them. We can say
right at the moment, I gotta say I'm going with the orange ghost stripe right now.
Yeah.
I got some really cool ideas with it. Where we're headed. You and I are headed with some of the other stuff. I know where you're working on.
Yeah.
So yeah, add some of that to it, and also definitely got some good plans for the orange ghost stripe.
Oh, it's an outstanding gene, and it's one that we still really haven't explored a lot with, in general as a hobby, even though it's been around for a while. I think there's people rush to codom so fast on that. A lot of the recessives, double and triple recessive combos got left out for a while. They take a while to make, but still, I think we should have seen a few more. But there's some.
That's what I was hoping the same thing. We would see more morphs of it, because it is such a bright snake, and everybody seems out there to be wanting those bright colored snakes.
Yeah.
Some people don't want the darker colored, but it's mainly been the bright colored snakes. They want to see those high oranges and yellows and stuff like that.
I think a part of it is so many people use their orange ghost stripes to go after cows, which, don't get me wrong, a cow is cool, but it's you don't get the colors you get on an orange ghost stripe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to go for the cow because it's an all white snake, and it's hard to keep alive. Some of them are just not wanting to take off, and we're still learning a lot more about them.
Yeah.
But for me, I like the white snakes, but again, I'm all about the colors myself.
Yeah.
Some of the colors that we haven't even touched on yet, that we can add to some of these animals, are just going to be phenomenal.
Oh yeah, and blue hypo is one I'm really excited about, seeing how that plays into.
That's the one that we were just talking about, that I just didn't know if you wanted to mention it, but yes,
we can mention it a little bit, yeah. But that's, if I had to pick one gene, that would be mine personally. That's my all-time favorite.
And and that's what we got going over here. We're pushing that gene for you. You tell me what you want, and we're doing it.
Oh yeah, we got it.
If you guys don't know, JT and I are partners.
Yes. So Total Domination, Sophisticated Serpents. That's why you see a lot of the same stuff from both of us. We work together on everything. And make sure, guys, go follow Total Domination Reptiles. We just started Cliff's Instagram. And if you like to see cool snakes, it is the place to go. So if you want to stay up to date, there's not a better way to stay up to date on what we're working with than Instagram. You can see, and sometimes we'll show in stories what we won't post. So make sure you guys are following Total Domination Reptiles. And Cliff just got in a whole bunch of shirts that are awesome. If you guys can see, if you're watching on YouTube, if you see that logo, that's straight from Cliff's shirt. So it's a really cool logo. He's got black, he's got white. It's awesome.
Yeah, we have a bunch available. You just got to hit me up, and I'll get them sent out to you with no problem. The more you guys, go ahead, JT.
Oh, I'm just saying, so if you guys like that logo, go ahead. You can contact Cliff, or you can contact me, and we'll go ahead and set up everything for you guys on one of those. So,
but anyhow, we got a ton of stuff coming out. As you know, JT, I don't know if you want to hit on it a little bit, but we got some crazy stuff that's going to be coming out this upcoming year.
Oh yeah, especially in pretty much any gene anyone could want. If you guys are looking for some retics, make sure you're staying tuned, because it's going to be a pretty exciting year, especially towards August, September, when stuff really starts hatching. So again, guys, make sure you're following Total Domination Reptiles. That's going to be a blast this year with everything coming out. And now to move a little bit into boas, where I'm leaving anything I know about. But going into
Still
boas,
learning on 'em?
hmm?
I said, you're still learning on them, but you're doing good.
Exactly, yeah. Boas are a little bit outside of my realm of expertise, but I love them. Do you have a gene with boas that's your absolute favorite, or is it kind of like with retics, where it's just too hard to kind of single one out?
Well, it's really hard, but at the moment, the jungle gene, a lot of the jungle gene is what I'm wanting to deal with. Some I'm mostly deal with the call strain albinos. Starting to definitely get into some of the other morphs, with a little bit of the motley. I am a purist. I do like a lot of the Argentines, the pure Argentines, the Hog Islands, the Cockerkais, and some of the other ones. I deal with the pures, but I do deal with a lot with the morphs too. So I'm all over the board when it comes with those. It's just because I love them so much. I've been dealing with them so much. They're so easy to deal with. It's just unreal. It's just really hard, as you know, or learning that there's not very many codoms on there.
No.
Mostly it's all recessive.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to build the boa that you want to build or what you're trying to get into it. And so many people get confused with the sharp gene and the call gene and mixing of the two, which some people frown on, some people don't. It's a menage a trois of everything that you can mix up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's boas can go years and years and not be ready to make what you want to make.
And it's always harder dealing with live birth than it is with egg laying, and that's why like you'll see that retics, even if they take a while to reach breeding size, the morphs come out faster than with boas because you're not dealing with live birth.
Exactly.
So
yeah, with the live birth, you don't get quite as many. You do have a lot more factors that go along with it. You got to wait for a longer time. You don't know if she's going to produce slugs. It's very upsetting when you've got your 9 foot boa that's been gravid for 105 days, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got 32 slugs, and now you're wondering why, and you're going, there goes my year. Unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah.
Happens a lot on the first time. Females usually on the first time. That's usually what happens. It's inevitable. We have it with retics and berms also. Just seems to be a hit and miss on those.
And I think that's actually the perfect segue to go into something I was going to talk to you about, is the whole premise of realistic expectations for people that are getting into breeding either one of these two species. Like right now, I've been asked by a lot of people, since a lot of breeders are selling retics off, like, is now a good time to buy? And in the words of Warren Buffett, is when people are scared, it's the best time to actually buy.
It
so
is.
People that are getting into stuff, what's kind of would say with 20 years of experience, are some realistic expectations to go into this with?
Realistic expectations to go in with is you're going to have to go long term. Yeah. If you're going to go long term. Don't think you're going to jump in and make a quick buck. You got to have the passion for these guys. These are something that you really got to invest your time in. Don't watch the market. Unfortunately, you'll see the market go up. You'll see the market go down. I've watched animals go from thousands of dollars all the way down to hundreds of dollars. And you get disgusted and you get upset about it. And it's not something that you should do. You just ride the market. If you're going to get into this and you really want to breed and you want to go far with this, pick a few genes out that you like, that you personally like, that you don't care what the cost of it is, that you're not in it for the money. You're in it straight for the love and the passion.
Yeah.
That's what I say. If you're going to do it, it's got to be about the love and the passion. If you're not about the love and the passion, you're looking for the money, you're going to get it. But it's not going to be like you're going to want to get it right away. It's a long-term investment.
So many people, I think, say like, okay, if you have a retic, she's going to breed exactly at 3 years or exactly at 4 years. And the reality is they're living animals. It's going to take what they decide it's going to take. And sometimes that's years and sometimes it's 7 years,
We've got one sitting here. What are we going on? 5 years now? 6 years?
Yeah, I think 6 years. Yeah.
And she hasn't, and that's one of the purples.
Yeah.
We're not going to give her up.
We're doing everything we do with every other snake, and she just doesn't want to go, and that's a reality.
She'll go when she's ready.
Yeah.
You know, there's no real trick about it. It's just nature takes its course. They're ready when they're ready. We can't force it. We can't manipulate it. We can't push it. Nature's going to take its course.
And that's where I think people get so discouraged, you know, when they buy into a project, they expect they're going to see it at 3 years, or they're going to see it, you know, within this time frame. And the reality is you have to just, as you said, you got to like what you're doing, because you might not hit the odds on it just because you have 20 eggs and you've got 1 in 8 odds. You could miss the odds on that, you know, drastically, and not hit what you're looking for until 5-6 years. And when you start dealing with double recessives, which is a lot of the stuff me and you are doing, that's a lot of the times, that's, you know, around 10 years, 8 years you're looking at from baby into what you want. So
we have gotten lucky this last couple of years, you know that.
Yeah.
Of hitting the odds.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a time where we're going to go, what happened?
Yeah.
You know,
we got too lucky last year, so it's coming. So
I mean, we got really lucky last year. So
yeah.
You know, some of the things that we produced were phenomenal. I mean, they're just like, wow, who could even think about getting those odds? And in just the 3 clutches, we had 3 world's first.
Yeah.
So, come on. So, I'm excited about what's going to go happen here, but I'm still on that edge of when's the luck going to run out and we hit a lot of the non-stuff that we want to hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where we're just going to get a whole bunch of our doubles or triples or we even got some quads going this year.
Yeah.
So if you think about it.
For anyone that doesn't know, when you're breeding 2 quad hits together, the odds are not in your favor on any. Let's just put it mildly that way.
So you're going to be going, what is that?
Yeah.
You're going to get something that come out, you're just not going to know what it is till it's later in life.
I mean, some of the stuff that we're working with, we got 1 in 64 odds on, which is, you know, that's going to take a couple years.
That's incredible odds right there. Yeah. I mean, to get it. But if we get it, it's great. I mean, but we have the odds. It's like gambling.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell people. Just because the odds in Vegas are 1 in 10 of you hitting that does not mean you're hitting it every time. So do you have any advice, you know, along that topic for, say, someone is starting out and they want to breed retics, they want to get a group of, say, you know, 4 females or something. Do you got any advice on, you know, would you start with babies? Would you start with looking for what adult breeders, how picky you would be on selecting? Do you have any advice as someone who built up their collection from the ground up to be, you know, what it is today?
Well, as you know, I started with all babies.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. Just because I want to know how their attitudes and all are, and how they're raised, whether they were raised fast, whether they were raised slow. Are they good eaters? Are they not good eaters? What I have to do, it's just my preference on somebody else's preference. Somebody would like to jump in and get a whole bunch of large snakes and try to jump in first thing. The only thing I worry about that. Now, how are they handled? Were they power fed? Are they actually grown correctly? What are their attitudes? Are you getting into something that's way too much for your skill level? You know, retics are not a beginner snake. You know this, and I know this. It's not something that you can jump into right away. It's something that you need to build up to. It's so many people jump into it right away and not know what they're going to get into.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, you and I have had people give whole clutches to us, whole collections to us, because they go, whoa, wait a minute, it's too much.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I are here, and what you and I both push is we want to give them all the information we could possibly ever have on these.
Oh, yeah, because I hate when I hear at a show a retic breeder saying, oh, this is great for your first snake, because it's not.
It's not. It's not.
is just pure, it's right that retics don't practice husbandry, but that doesn't mean that they're a beginner snake, at all, just because they don't have a tendency to get sick like other species. Like they are big, powerful, large constrictors, that you gotta have that experience with, and they take time. And a lot of people, I think it's the time that they're not prepared for.
Yeah, and then as well as I do, and you know how I am.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to learn these, I'd rather them come to me and we'll spend some time.
Yeah.
I'll give them free time here at Total Domination by learning of how I care for these, how you handle these, how you take care of these animals, and not have the problems that a lot of people have when they go to a show and just pick one up. I'd rather them come to me and just say, "Hey, I want to soak up all your knowledge," and I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them every bit of knowledge I have because I want the animal to survive and I want them to be happy.
Yeah. And that's one of the areas where sometimes, it's not saying that a good deal can't be a good deal, but sometimes, I always tell people you get what you're paying for, So sometimes that, there's a quote, I can never remember it, but it's like the bitterness of poor quality is longer than the thrill of a good deal, which is sometimes true in the world. Is that breeder going to be there for the entire life of the animal, or is that someone that you're going to buy a super cheap snake from and never talk to again?
Exactly.
So that's always something I warn people that are getting in is, to do your research on that breeder. Is it someone that's, just flipping a snake and never going to talk to you again? Or is it someone you're going to be talking to for life about that animal? And sometimes, a lot of times, those breeders that put that time in are going to charge a little more, but you got to look at what you're getting out of that. So,
yeah, exactly. And you hit the right point on that one. You look at some of the breeders and you hear horror stories about some of the bigger breeders, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. I mean, as big breeders and breeders ourselves, we tried to do as much as we can for our customers. And there's sometimes you just can't make them all happy. No. But I'll do everything in the world to make them happy, even if it takes. And my motto, and your motto too, is that we'll take a loss before they're going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's the way I believe some of the breeders should start acting.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, it's going to be our hobby and our passion is slowly going to dwindle down.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's breeders I've heard that were I like literally heard bragging about selling a mainland as a super dwarf to someone, and it's like, you just sold a snake that you claim gets 6 feet that is going to get much bigger. That's not going to do anything but hurt our hobby.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to come back to bite us. That's going to look bad on all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing about having a hobby like this is one bad apple can really screw the rest of us. So we need to police ourselves, and I thought Nerd came out with a great video about this, but it's like we have to kind of start realizing that we will screw ourselves over long before anyone else screws us over. So
he's right on the point on that one.
Yeah, it's if you guys haven't watched that video by Nerd, I'd go check it out. It was a great video just about what's going on and then how we can do better as a whole hobby. Because even if you're doing everything perfect, it's the one person that makes it seem like all of us are like that. So it's unfortunate, but it's the way that it works. So,
and that's very unfortunate that's the way it works.
Yeah. So
it makes the hobby look like we're all against each other.
Yeah.
Or one bad apple, we're just trying to put everybody down. And I've seen so much of it where you get one guy that says something and then they misconstrue it to other people. And I've noticed a lot in the hobby that one guy may know a little bit more knowledge and another person doesn't have that knowledge. They attack them.
Yeah.
And that is something I do not like. I do not like to see that in our hobby. We need to bring everybody together, whether they have a little bit of knowledge or a lot of knowledge. All it's going to do is benefit us as a community.
And I see that more, I think, in the big snakes than almost anything, is like where there's this elitist kind of feel to it. And it's like, the reality is we all had to ask these questions at some point,
We all had to start somewhere.
And it makes people that are getting into it, the reality is what's going to keep this hobby alive is new people getting into it. And if we scare off new people getting into it, that's not going to help us out. It's not going to grow businesses for people that breed. It's not going to help animal. It's not going to help anything. So that's something that, especially I would say in the retic community itself, is gotten a little out of hand. So
yeah, a little out of the hands, a little. That's being a little light on that one.
yeah, it's putting it quite nicely. So
That's very, very well delicate on that one, brother.
yeah,
Because it's very unfortunate. I mean, I've personally been contacted by several people that, hey, can you just take my animal? I can't deal with people. And it's sad because these are people that have had snakes, started out with gardener snakes or something, corn snakes or whatnot, came through the ranks, learned, and now want to step into something a little bit more exotic and have learned, but nobody wants to teach them.
yeah,
And that's the sad. And then to get attacked by lack of knowledge or not knowing exactly how to take care of one by not, yeah, the research is out there, but you know as well as I do, it's kind of hit and miss on what's right and what's wrong on some of these animals. What's right on one end could be wrong on another end. It depends on, like in Arizona where I'm at, we have to crank the humidity way up. Otherwise, we're in the world, we're going to get 60-70% humidity in the summertime.
exactly.
Because it gets hot. But you go to California where the snakes do great, they're on the coast, 60-70% humidity all the time, or Florida or those other, then they're complaining when they see somebody's got a bad shed.
Yeah.
And they're not understanding, you need to crank that humidity up. You got to have a little bit of compassion on that end and realize that that person may be doing as best as he can to get it up there.
Oh yeah, because it changes based on where you live. When I moved from the coast to where I live now in a desert, it completely changed how like sheds went and everything.
And the incubator setup.
Yeah, I really struggled with snakes for a while, and I struggled when I first moved out here. I lost multiple clutches doing something that I've done for years.
You've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
and it's because you were comfortable at that and doing it at that, so that's what you were used to.
Yeah,
you came out where it was dry, where I'm at, and I had to tell you, hey man, you got to do this. And as soon as you did it, you haven't had a problem.
So
as soon as you did
reality. If you're afraid to ask for questions, I would have lost every clutch, that year. So
and now you haven't had a problem since.
Exactly. So that's one of the areas where I think people have to be more understanding, and then we got to figure out ways as a community to kind of come together. And the reality is if you actually go out and you meet most of the people in the community, it's not as bad as it seems online. That's something I always tell people. If you go out to a show, most breeders will take the time. They're going to talk to you. It's not what it seems to be online. So head out to a reptile show, and I think it'll be a little bit different experience.
Oh yeah, if they see us out there, or even if we're together or not, I'll take the time. If it takes me 3 hours to be with just one customer, I'm going to spend that time with them. You know me. That's just the way it is. It's going to happen. And they're going to be confident when they walk away from us.
And I've had people I've spent a couple hours with at a show, and I sometimes will hear other breeders complain about that. And to me, it's like I never mind someone asking me questions for that long of a time because they're taking the time to understand, is this animal something that I can actually handle? And I would rather that than someone buy a snake in 2 minutes and then have it be something they can't handle.
Exactly. Or they walk away without the question being asked. So one thing I've always told everybody that's worked for me is the dumb question is the one that you don't ask.
Exactly.
So I'd rather take any of what you and I and any other big breeder would think, oh, that's a silly question. It's really not, because I had to ask it. Back when I got into the berms, when I bought them from Bob and all, I asked that man 50 million questions when he was in Phoenix. He was tired of seeing me 2 or 3 times at his booth, but I wanted to know, and he took the time.
Yeah.
So, and then big props out to Bob. Bob was a big push in the berm direction for me. So he got me into the berms. You basically and Jay got me into the retics, where I was, it's funny how I got the retics I did get my PayPal hacked, like we talked about. I forgot to bring that up. PayPal did get hacked. I did get sent a retic from Bob, and that's how this thing started. And then I started reaching out. So I totally forgot we were going to mention on that that how I got back into the retics. So it was something I wanted to send back. Bob was more than willing to take it back and give me credit. So the wife liked it, kind of liked it. I was like, it's kind of because I was into the boas, and it blew up from there. So, and now look at where I'm at now. And I got to give you props and Jay props, because both you guys have been phenomenal with me when I started getting into the retics. So thanks for that, brother.
I drove Bob crazy when I was getting into it. I probably asked Bob more questions, when I was working for him than, I probably drove that guy crazy, but it's what you got to do when you're getting into it.
You have to.
The only bad question is one that you don't ask. And, my other hobby, freediving, I even heard it put where it's like, the question you don't ask is the one that's going to get you killed. And to a lesser extent, it's the question you don't ask that's going to get you bit in the reptile.
Yeah, see, I'm not going out in the ocean with you.
Yeah.
I'm not shark bait. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I know we laugh about that, but I trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I went out with you, I know you'd keep me safe.
Oh, yeah. So one day we'll have to make that happen.
One day.
Yeah.
When I get brave enough.
But thank you guys for watching. And real quick, just again, guys, I know we mentioned it, but go check out Cliff on Total Domination Reptiles on Instagram. It's just at Total Domination Reptiles. We also are going to have a YouTube set up for him in the coming weeks when I get out there and we film some stuff. So make sure you guys are staying tuned and staying up to date, because there is going to be some crazy stuff coming out this year. And the only way you're going to know is if you're following. So any last words of advice to anyone out there?
Just bear with us. I mean, we all know what's going on with USARK trying to fight for us again for all this, and we'll get through it. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah,
we've seen it. We've seen this before. I've seen it almost 3 times now, back from the 80s, where they came all the way through. We'll get through it. Heads up, keep going through it, guys. Just don't give up.
Donate to USARK if you can. They pulled us out of it before, and they're going to do it again. So great words.
They will do it again.
Well, absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on. We're going to try to have you on at least once a month here, so everyone kind of gets to know what we're doing.
Well, thanks for having me, JT. That was great.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, man. Have a good one.
Anytime.
Peace out, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Hasta.